Hello, everyone. This is Al Fadi, and I'd like to welcome you again to a continuation of this series on refuting the so-called scientific miracles of the Quran. Today, we are going to tackle yet another claim. This time, we're dealing with the issue that there are 7 heavens and 7 earths. With me here in studio to address this, Dr. Jay Smith. Welcome back.
Yeah, this is a curious one, Al-Fadi. I don't know really why Muslims claim that this is scientifically viable. We now know that the 7 heavens, they say, are the 7 planets. We now know there are probably 9 planets. They got that wrong. We are not even sure that Pluto is a planet now. That's been declassified. So it's one of those odd things that we'll never know the answer to that. I think this is coming out of lots of literature that existed at this time. Dante's Inferno refers to the 7 heavens and the 7 earths. But my question is, where are the 7 earths it's talking about? Where are this delineation of different earths? And is that the planets then? And so Muslims, whenever I asked, we used to brought this up in Speaker's Corner quite often, and we always asked them, pushed back on them and say, can you explain where the 7 heavens are? First of all, are these galaxies? Are these different heavens? And they would say, well, this is what Muhammad went up to, the 7 heavens. So I say, okay, where are these heavens? Well, they said, well, so that's what they're referring to. It's the 7 heavens that we go to after death.
Different layers. Exactly.
Moses was in the 5th heaven. Allah is in the 7th heaven, and that's where Allah resides. Interestingly, that's where Muhammad went to, which means Muhammad was face to face with Allah. That's another problem.
But that's another claim that he never did that, right?
And fascinating. That's the Mi'raj. And ask a Muslim, what's he doing up in heaven, next face to face with God, if God cannot be face to face with man, according to Islam? If he could be in Muhammad's presence, could he not also be in Moses' presence in the burning bush, which he was? Then why are you having a problem with Jesus coming to earth?
That's right.
So that's another theological playback and pushback. But I'd still like to know, and if any Muslim, and I want to talk to you Muslims, if you could come back and tell me where are these 7 earths, help me here. Because this, to me, is an error. This is not a proof. This is an error. And obviously, unless, of course, this is borrowing from other literature, and these are not meant to be physical heavens and physical earth, this is nothing more than imagery.
And listen, I studied geology, and one of the things that I studied basically is that, you dig a hole and you can see layers, different layers, but nowhere that I ever studied that there are specifically 7 major layers. No one ever said something like that.
So could that be what they're referring to? They're different layers.
It's possible. But it depends, so you see, the beauty about Islamic apologetics is that it evolves over time. So now they might be telling you it's 7 planets. In fact, we have this theory that the reason why Muslims, when they go to Mecca and circle the Kaaba 7 times, it's after these 7 planets that you mentioned. For instance, the sun, the moon, the earth, Mars, Venus, the things that they were able to see, or maybe they adapted from others. That's one possibility why they do it 7 times.
Can I do a pushback on that?
You could, but an aerial image, by the way, of the Kaaba shows something interesting. It's almost like the Kaaba represents a star in the middle, and then you have like an ark, that I've been there and prayed in. It's called the place of Ishmael. So these are theories. For now, I'm not open really to confirm or deny these things, because even when they call that Allah is the God Moon, I look at it as a theory. There isn't anything that I can use to support.
I want to get a pushback
idea
on that, because the number 7 is significant, because you also have the number 7 when the Jamarat, when they throw stones at the Jamarat, they have to do 7 or 49.
We know that also why.
It's a multiplication of 7. I would suggest that this is nothing more than a borrow from Judaism. Judaism has sanctified the number 7.
Possible.
And many of the practices are coming out of Judaism. Take a look.
And running between the two
the
mountains.
Safa and Marwa,
exactly.
back and forth, 7 times. Those two situations where Ishmael was, and that's where Hagar went back and forth. And that's part of the Kaaba as well, along those 2. So that's also from Judaism. 7 again. So I would suggest this has nothing to do with looking for helicopters.
It's all possible. That's why I say all the time, these are theories, and we can really have stronger theories than others.
Yeah.
I would agree with you, because it seemed like Muhammad was fascinated by a lot of the Judeo-Christian teachings,
push back on that? I don't think Muhammad had anything to do with
Jewish.
this.
Let's hypothetically say Muhammad. We
you
know the authors of the Quran, of course. Once again, I am with you that there is so many things that we can definitely point out to refute these arguments that there was a man by the name Muhammad. We know that there is an argument now that if that's the case, how come his name never popped up?
No, I'm going to push back on he had anything to do with this book.
Man,
Don't say that he had anything
I'm
to
on
do with
board.
this book.
I am on board with you. But here's another thing I want to say. I point out. Remember the other day we were talking about some of the errors that are found in the Quranic manuscripts and insertions. One of it has to do with the insertion with the
seven.
Seven. So it seemed like there is an adaptation of something of some sort.
Isn't that interesting? So we brought up now the seven heavens and the seven earths. We brought up the seven rotations around the Kaaba. We brought up the seven going from the middle to Safa back and forth 7 times. We've talked about the stones that you're throwing the stones to the Jamarat 7 times. 7, 7, 7, 7. We're seeing 7 everywhere. And also the variant that had to include and re-include the number 7. And that's at a later date. So it looks like this 7 is borrowed at a later date. We're just now showing that this probably has some historical context. The next time we talk to you all, we'll probably be able to solve where all this 7 comes from.
Yeah.
Great. But be careful, Muslims. Don't say this is a proof. It looks like this is nothing more than borrowing from the Jews. It looks like it's nothing more than borrowing. These are what you might say idiomatic expressions that have been created, possibly by the Jews again, because of the magic number 7. They see it as their holy number. And it looks like the Muslims, notice that the Muslims have started with 3 prayers in the Quran. You only find 3 prayers. They now move to 5 by the time you get to the Hadith. You can see why they had to go out of 3, because the Jews pray 3 times a day. They then had to go to 5. That is, as you move on, you create new numbers. You bring in new, in this case, new practices. It looks like we're going to be talking about this for quite a few years yet to come.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you got me excited just thinking about a new series for that. So with that says, don't give these arguments to us, because that's what we do with it. We end up basically creating another dilemma out of this. And, we're hopefully we'll be doing another series on that. So thank you again for joining us. We pray that you would find this yet another helpful tool in your ministry. And if you're a Muslim, please, as we've been encouraging you, if you watch this, write us your comments, reach out to both of us, and we would welcome your interaction with us. Have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, hit the bell so that you don't miss future videos. And please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Sira International. And together we can introduce Muslims to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Thank you.